Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, good morning. Wanted to make sure everything was set up. Good morning, Cindy. Let me begin by reading some jokes from George, or jokester. I'll read one. All right. Why do sulking men love a hearty soup? Because there's nothing like a good stew. Oh gosh. Okay, you guys could look at the other ones. Oh, because I want to say hi to everyone else. George Martin, good to have you here. George Martin is not our jokester. That's the other George. But George Martin is probably funny too. Eleanor and Stan, good morning. Lauren, good morning. Okay, she read that one. All right. Martha, good morning from Chicago. Good morning, Nancy. Nancy, I feel like I haven't seen you. I hope you're okay. So let me know if you're not. Text me or email me later. Michael, good morning. Lynn, good morning. Hopefully Dave too. And then Joanne, good morning, Saturday friends. Hi, everyone. So I hope you're all doing well. Oops. I see that I froze. So, okay. So if you guys want to share anything with me, anything that's going on in particular, I'd love for you to do that. And then I wanted to say that I'm gonna come back here just in case, and I'll see if any of you see anything. Okay. So, so I'm really excited because there is so much I've been studying lately and studying a lot about fascia. And for any of you that have been with me this past week, I mentioned that a lot this past week because it's really amazing, or actually not even in this last week. I'd say in the last few months, as I'm studying more about bone health and about mineral balance, I'm really understanding the whole connection of everything in our body. And in my fascial studying fascia lately, one thing that they were saying recently that really stood out to me is, I call it the cobwebs. When we get adhesions in our bodies, I call it cobwebs. And that just like an older attic where there's less movement or people going into it, the cobwebs can get thicker. And if you were to try to walk through, it would be a lot harder to get through. And it's the same thing inside of our body because it is a use it or lose it proposition. And so one thing that they were saying is that, like, if you look at monkeys and how monkeys move around so much and they bend and they move their bodies in many different ranges of motion, we don't. We mostly sit or stand. We stop squatting, and we do bend down to go to the bathroom. And now the toilets are made even higher. So the squatting position, if you travel to the east and probably even South America, and who knows where else, but I know a lot in the East, especially in India, but they're quite often in a squatting position. And so losing that ability to deeply bend your knees, and I know that some of you here have done that. So for those that are already in a place where you have so much limitation of range of motion, don't let that become, oh no, I can't do this, or oh, I can't. Let's try to let go of what we can't do. I just want to raise our awareness to the fact that these tissues get sticky if we don't use them or move them. And so that's what today's practice will be about. Today's practice will be about really thinking about getting rid of the stickiness in the body and clearing the cobwebs, because really that's what we need to do. And one thing that I heard this week is that arterial stiffness is the leading cause of death in the world, because arterial stiffness is part of the cardiovascular system. And so the vessels that our blood travels in get sticky and harden. So whether that's sticky from food that we have or sticky from what was described to me by the cardiologist, is that if the blood vessels dilate and contract from the stress response and the chronic stress response, they start to harden because they are muscles, they get harder. So today we are going to soften our body. We are going to soften our mind around what we can or can't or think we should or shouldn't. We're going to drop ourselves into a tub of water, so to speak, like a swimming pool. so that we find whatever range of motion we have in our body. So with that said, for today's practice, I'd like you to have a strap, I'd like you to have a block, and a blanket. And we're gonna come down on the ground at first. We're gonna ground our mental energy to this place. For some of you, that's hard to do. So coming to a supine, which is on your back position right away, for many can be a challenge. So let's do a little bit first before we come down there. Let's come to the side and have your knees bent. Let's do a little bit of hip joint movement here so that you can actually begin to drop into your body, into the place of feeling. So I want you to come into a place where you actually feel something happening in your body. If you start to let your legs go a little farther in, like that knee that comes in, if it goes close to touching the floor, you'll probably feel some stretching in your hip joint. And then you can also feel your body weight going back from one buttock to the other. So play with this. And then bring yourself back. You may have even experienced a little bit going on in the shoulders there. Let's take our hands, palms are facing forward. So this would be ideal, is for the palms to be facing forward, the feet are hip distance. For some of you, this is too challenging in the shoulders. You may need to put your hands out to the side. Just find whatever, make it gentle. Doesn't matter how high you lift off the floor. Take an inhale. And then exhale, just lift yourself up, feel yourself stretching. Inhale to lower. Be in your body, please. Closing your eyes if you can. On the next one, you're going to come up and stay up. If the neck doesn't like this, put the chin towards the chest. Just experience and notice what you notice. And then let's go ahead and bring ourselves down. So hopefully that brought you into your body in terms of sensations, especially if some of that was challenging. So we're going to come down onto the floor. If you have osteoporosis, I recommend that you come to the side like this and go all the way down. And if not, you can explore using your core. Let the low ribs go towards the back body here in that flexion position to really maintain the strength of the core, and then bring yourself all the way down. Your choice here on whether you'd like your legs to be straight or your knees to be bent. And I'd like you to get your shoulder blades to go onto the back. So press your arms into the floor, lift your body up, and then slide the shoulder blades towards the spine so they are supported by the floor. And then bring your hands out to the side. So a little stretching here in the shoulder joint. And if you can, raise your arms a little higher. So what I would like you to notice here, I'd like you to go inside your body here, and I'd like you to notice any sensation you feel. And I'd like you to move your arms into a position where you do feel some kind of stretch. And then I'd like you to notice the blanket you have behind your head. So this could be a really great postural correcting position to be in, and it can help take sitting out of the body. But the key here is, what support do you have behind your head? Finding the lowest possible support that you can. So for those of you with a lot of upper back and neck tension, you need to adjust your pillow or folded blanket by your head so that you lower it to the place where the sensations are manageable. And that will be helping to correct posture. And then bring your awareness into your body here. Go all over your body with your mind, noticing what you notice. Especially if there's an area where you have issues, I'd like you to take your awareness to that area as if you were sitting back and looking at it. If it's a place where you have throbbing pain or something like that. And then if you don't have a place of pain or discomfort, move your body into a place where you feel a deeper stretch and go to the place where you feel the stretch. See if you could soften that area. Quite often there's tension in places of pain, like a clenched fist versus an opened fist. So see if you could visualize that the area you're having the sensation is like a closed fist, and then you want to open it. So if your legs are in a bent knee position, let's go ahead and slowly take one leg long at a time. Having the legs spread a little bit here may be a little easier on some bodies. And allow the toes to flop to the side. So we're going to do a systematic tension and release to feel that in our bodies, to feel what it feels like to be tense like a fist, and then to experience what release and relaxation feels like. So bring your awareness down to your left leg. Take the left leg and actively, you could lift it off the floor or just point the toes and strongly activate the entire left leg. The foot, the ankle, the calf, the quad. Feel that leg as if it were a fist, making the tightest fist possible. Feel that tension in the left leg. And then slowly, with your awareness there, allow relaxation to come into the leg slowly. And allow the leg to find its place in total relaxation. Bring your awareness over to your right leg. Same thing. Firm up that leg, make it as tight as you can. As much tension as possible. You could push your heel into the floor and tighten the leg, or you could lift the leg off the floor and find that tightness in the leg, that contraction. And then slowly, slowly release. Bring your awareness to your glutes, so the tushy, and you're going to slowly, slowly start to contract your glutes. Your body will rise off the floor a little, slowly, especially if you're someone that has cramping issues. Go slow. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then slowly, slowly allow the glutes to soften. Experience that in your body. You're going to bring your awareness to the core, which is where your legs attach to your body and the whole perimeter underneath your rib cage. And we're going to contract the core all at once. So a bearing down action is sometimes the way it's described. Or if there was a bowling ball that was going to land towards your tummy, you would do a very protective movement to protect yourself. So take an inhale. And on the exhale, contract your core as strong as you can and hold it as long as you can. And once you need to let go, slowly. Feel the heaviness of the left leg. Feel the heaviness of the right leg. And then allow your pelvis also to feel heavy. Bringing the awareness over to the left hand. Squeeze the left hand. Lift the arm off the floor if that's comfortable for you, or press it into the floor. And activate the wrist, the lower arm, and the upper arm. And then notice, is everything else in the body soft? So let your right hand be soft. Let everything else be soft. Really contract that left arm. And then slowly, slowly allow relaxation to enter that left arm, that left hand. Experience this. Bringing the awareness over to the right hand. Begin to actively squeeze the wrist, squeeze the forearm, squeeze the upper arm. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then slowly, slowly, slowly allow that to soften. With the rib cage, it's hard to isolate just the rib cage because the core gets involved here. You're going to imagine that your rib cage is pressing towards your heart. So finding some kind of contraction in the muscles of respiration. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, exhale deeply. And then hold the exhale out. Feel the diaphragm pressing up towards the heart. Slowly, slowly, slowly release. Feel the heaviness of the left arm. Feel the heaviness of the right arm. And feel the heaviness of the rib cage. Bringing your awareness to your jaw. Let's open the mouth really wide. And then close the mouth. Clenching the teeth. Clench your teeth as strong as you can for as long as you can. And then when you're ready, release the clenched jaw. Allow the jaw to be soft. Let the back teeth separate. Bring your awareness to your eyes. Squeeze your eyes as tight as you can. Try to let the mouth be soft. And then slowly, slowly release that tension. Feel the heaviness of the body. Bring your awareness to the back of the left ankle, the left leg. Feel it on the floor. Bring your awareness over to the right leg. Feel the heaviness of the leg as the leg is softening towards the floor. Feel the back of the right arm and the back of the left arm. One at a time. and then try to do both at the same time. Feel the heaviness of your torso, heaviness of the head. Bringing your awareness to the area that we began, that may be an area of concern for you, or an area that you have chronic pain or issues. And notice if the volume of that signal is the same level, or is it less? Hopefully not anything other than those two. Bringing your awareness to your fingers and your toes. Isolate the movement in the fingers and the toes. And then the hand and the foot. I'd like you to feel when you move your toes and your foot, do you feel that in the calf? Even though you're trying to isolate it in the foot and the toes. When you move the fingers and the hands, do you feel that in the forearm? Bringing the arms all the way overhead, taking the legs all the way straight. Stretch your body glove. Stretch your skin suit. Keep that flow in the body tissues. And then bring your arms to the side. Let's do a little here to stretch the shoulder joint a little more if this is appropriate for you. If you'd like to bring the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to fall towards the side, you can stretch the inner thighs if that feels okay. Some low backs don't like this, so you may need to move the feet a little farther away from your body. And then the arms are going overhead on the inhale, like jumping jack arms, where we try to touch the fingers above the head, palms are up towards the sky. Arms are not touching the floor. They're hovering off the floor. And try to go through the biggest range of motion you could feel in your body comfortably. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then bring yourself, if you have your legs out like this, you may want your hands here to help bring them back up to a neutral position. And then push your feet into the floor, lift your pelvis up. Let's take the left leg long. Take the right leg on top of the left leg. Bring the arms out to the side again. And we're going to rotate over towards the left. So I would like you to be in your body here to feel what feels appropriate for you, especially those of you with low back issues. So don't throw your bag of bones there. I want you to arrive to the appropriate place. You're going to move over towards the left. This is a much higher body rotational movement. So it's going to go higher in the body as opposed to the outside of the hip. And we're towards the left, so lift that right arm up so that you feel that stretch translate up towards the armpit area, maybe the arm. Take the left hand on that right knee if that's appropriate for you. Flex the right hand if that's appropriate for your body. This is a pretty big stretch. And I know that some of you may have some issues of protection in the back of the body. So bring your awareness there so that as you move, there's a safety feature to this, that you're letting your unconscious mechanisms in the body bring the conscious brain there with awareness so that you can only go to wherever it's appropriate for your body. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center.
If you're able to close your eyes comfortably when you do this, that would be the preferred option so that you could be in your body, feeling and noticing. Bring the left leg on top of the right thigh. Arms are to the side. And then you begin to lift the left buttock away from the floor. Finding on this side the appropriate twist for you. You could let your right hand go on the outside of that left leg. You could lift the left arm off the floor. You could add the flexion of the wrist. And then noticing the difference between one side and the other. Breathe deeply to your lower ribs so you feel your belly rise and fall. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself back to center. Take your knees into the bent knee position. Push your feet into the floor, lift your body off the floor, and put your pelvis back down. So you should have only a blanket or some head support here and have your body where it is. We will need our strap and block for this part, so grab that if it's near you, or if you need to move to get it, go ahead and do that.
All right. So I hope that you feel good so far. I will tell you that I feel so relaxed. And because this is a stress management, or my focus here is on stress management, when you can go from here to here, you can really ground the mental energy. And in some ways, it's almost like saying to the body, see, everything is okay. When the mind can be here, it lets the body realize that, okay, everything is okay, the coast is clear. So we're going to use the block and the strap here on this part of the practice, continuing with that somatic awareness. Soma means body. So somatic is when we are in our body. So we're going to bring the left leg in, take your hands on top and clasp your hands so you have a nice hold of your knee. Now, I would like to say that I want you to explore what's a safe range of motion for you. So I was mentioning that keeping that movability in our body is important, and a lot of us lose that flexion ability of the knee, and I'm sure that some of you here, that's the case for you. So if doing this is too much tension on either the knee joint or the hip joint, then you unbend the knee and you go to underneath the thigh, and that will take the tension off of here, and maybe it still release a little from the hip joint. So find what's appropriate for you. Then with your eyes closed, I'd like you to lengthen the right leg away from you slowly so that you feel if this is appropriate to have a straight leg. Stretching the hip flexor muscle group, which gets contracted from the seated position. So explore if that's safe for you and okay for you. And if it's not, go back to the bent knee. Let's take an inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to lift the head off the floor, chin to the chest. Now, if you have osteoporosis, I don't want you to do the head part. Bring the knee to the forehead, forehead to the knee. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lengthen. Inhale to lower. Exhale. Inhale. One more. Exhale. Stay here for a breath.
Take an inhale here. Take another exhale. And then inhale to release. Let's switch legs. Go slow. Notice what's appropriate for you. When you lengthen the left leg, if you're going to lengthen the left leg, go slow. And even if it didn't work, if there was too much tightness on the right side, it doesn't mean that same thing will exist on the other side. So I suggest you explore it. You feel your way into it. Let's prepare. Take an exhale. Inhale. Exhale, draw the right knee towards the forehead. Go slow because you should feel you shouldn't. There's no shoulding. I'm hoping that you're feeling a strong stretch, exhale to rise, on the front of the left thigh as we lengthen the psoas. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Last one, you're going to exhale to rise. Stay here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to lower. Place that leg on the floor, bring the other knee to a bent position. I'm going to say that that's a great one to add to your toolbox, especially your anti-aging toolbox. Because as simple as that may look, when we lengthen one leg and we draw the other leg in, we're lengthening our psoas right here. And then when you lift the head up, you're lengthening the spine, adding flexion, which is going to deepen that stretch. So the ability to stretch the hip flexor muscles is really profound. We do the exhale on the rise, which is going to increase the belly. The belly is going to expand as the diaphragm, the diaphragm's going up. But when the leg comes in, it's going to compress the belly, which compresses vessels, lymphatic vessels, which is good for immune health, and the circulatory system, although that's deeper, but still there's a compression. And then also organs, pancreas on the left, liver on the right. So I'm going to say to add that to your toolbox. Here's another one to add to your toolbox, the hip joint stretching. Take the heels on the mat and the toes are off. The hands, you bring them into whatever position you like. If you come back into that scarecrow arm position with the palms up towards the sky, this can help correct posture and release some of the tension in the upper back. And what people say sometimes is, I can't get my hands all the way to the floor. Move into the position that you can get your hands onto the floor. So if for you, hands are on the floor here, and then when you try to come forward, they go to here, then leave them out here. So find back of the hand on the floor, arms to the side. For some of you, it may be a bent elbow. It depends on what range of motion you have in your rotator cuff muscles and the shoulder muscles, arm muscles. Let's begin by gently keeping the soles of the feet on the floor. So keep the soles of the feet on the floor as you move your knees over to the side on the inhale and exhale back to center. And then over to the side and exhale back to center. So the soles of the feet are on the floor. Close your eyes, be in the soles of the feet. Or be in the place where you're noticing a stretching sensation in your waist or your hips. Notice how much range of motion you have keeping the soles of the feet on the floor. And then I'd like you to notice how much, this is a range of motion test for the hip joint. So the soles of the feet are on the floor, the leg that goes to the side, that's external hip joint rotation. The leg that comes in towards the middle is internal hip joint rotation. So just notice if that range of motion is the same on both sides for you. And then bring yourself back to center. We're going to go a little deeper with this now. Now you're going to allow the soles of the feet to come off the floor. So you're on the big toe edge on one foot, pinky toe on the other. Inhale. Exhale, contract your core, push your belly button to your spine to come back up to center. Inhale the other direction. Go slow, close your eyes, be in your body, and feel what's happening. And then bring yourself back up to center. Let's go over to the left. Once you arrive, let's deepen the hip joint stretch. So push the right big toe edge into the floor. And then press the front of your right hip straight up towards the sky. Not over towards the left, but straight up towards the sky. Then take that right arm, flex the wrist, and reach the right arm away. Creating as much sensation as you can. Bring your awareness to the left leg. Let the left leg be soft. Let the left arm be heavy and soft. Right side body activation. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back up to center. Let's go over to the other side. Allow the knees to slowly move towards the right. You're on the big toe edge of the left foot. Right leg softens. Let that right leg soften. Let that right arm soften. And then bring your awareness to the front of the left hip joint as you actively push it up towards the sky. Feel that deep stretch wherever you experience it. And then lift that left arm off the floor. Make that active. Soften the right arm, soften the right leg. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. And then slowly, slowly release. Bring yourself back up. So that was a lot of nice work to clear the cobwebs and thinking about the adhesions in the body that eventually become sticky and they stick together. And when they stick together and they harden, the biochemistry is affected, the proprioceptive nervous system is affected, the ability for the vessels to travel through them is affected. So that was to clear the cobwebs. Let's do a little strengthening here because that last movement we just did worked on the rotational muscles of the trunk. I'd like to strengthen rotational muscles. So take your block in your hand like this. It's the widest position you could put your hand in. And if you don't have a block, you can have your hands be about this distance and very active. You can imagine that you're placing your hands pressing into a block. This will fire up the upper support, the shoulder girdle. Let's bring one knee up and then the other. So the knees closer to the chest is a little bit easier. The knees right above the pelvis is a little more challenging. You find where you need to be. Lift your feet up and keep them active. Squeeze the block. And then you could imagine that you have a block between your knees. Your knees are a block distance, so don't let your knees go too close together. You're going to inhale, let the knees go to the left, let the arms go to the right. Keep the arms straight, don't bend the elbows. Exhale, firm up the core, pressing the belly button towards the spine to come back to center. I like a zippering up action, so if you could think about zippering up your belly, try that right now. Try a couple of zipper actions to see how you could flatten the low back into the floor, and especially the top edge of the pelvis touching the floor. Okay. Inhale, let your legs go to the left and your arms go to the right. Exhale, zipper up and bring yourself back up to center. Slower is harder. Inhale to the opposite direction. Exhale, zipper up to come back up to center. Inhale, opposite direction. Zipper to come back up to center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Make the last one be the left. And then bring yourself back into center. Let's bring our knees into our chest. Take your right ankle on top of your left ankle. Reach your head up, reach around the outside, grab a hold of the feet. If you can, put your thumbs in your arches and the palm of your hand on top of the top part of your foot. And then go ahead and lie back down. More people have access to this than they realize. When they look at it at first, they think, no way. But your knees are externally rotated here. So for knee flexion issues, it frees that up. And if you can't grab a hold of your knees, keep your legs in this position. Hold the lower leg bone right below the knees, drawing the legs towards your body strongly. I want your low back to press into the floor. So you either are holding onto your feet, pressing your legs into each other so the low back presses onto the floor. The right leg is on top, so the left low back, we're going to roll 1 inch towards the left low back and rock the top edge of the left side of your pelvis on the floor. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's switch. Left ankle on top of right ankle. If you need to lift up to grab the feet, do that. That gives people a little more access. The feet draw towards the sides, and then you press the leg bones into each other to help add that deep flexion and to add that posterior pelvic tilt. Lengthen your neck, make sure your neck is nice and long here. And then you're gonna rock on the top edge of the right pelvis. So we are stretching our glutes, we're stretching our external rotators in our tushy. We're adding flexion to the lower lumbar spine and posterior pelvic tilt. You bring yourself back to center. Let's take our legs onto the floor. Let's do a little bridge action here, adding strength to the back of the body. So we just stretch that lower part, and we're going to strengthen the back here. Let's take the blanket away from the back of the head. And if you must have something, make it be the smallest amount of something that you need, whether that's a blanket or a towel or a pillow. Take the block between your thighs, hands are down along your thighs. Walk your feet a little bit away from your body so they're not too close. Let's keep the hands here. We're going to stretch the neck as well. Okay, as you inhale, squeeze the block, push your feet into the floor, lift the left hand up and let the head rotate towards the right. Feel the stretch in the upper back and neck, the armpit, the arm, and then exhale to lower. Inhale to lift, right arm, head goes to the left. And the goal is not to lift all the way up to where your heart is. So you only want to lift to like the bottom part of your heart. So you don't put any extra weight up towards the head and neck when you're rotating the neck. So just lifting the bottom part of the body off the floor is going to strengthen the glutes and the hamstrings, of course, calves, feet, everything, because it's all connected. Inhale, right arm. And then the last one, inhale, left arm, head goes to the right. Bringing yourself back to a neutral position. Let's walk the feet closer to the body. So for some of you, you're so close that you could actually reach down and touch your heels. And the heels should be right where the center of the buttocks are. So the heels are not out to the side of the body. They're right where the buttocks are. The block is between the thighs if you have a block or something there, or visualizing that activation of the adductors. Lengthen your head, chin towards the chest. Arms are down alongside the body. And then press the low back into the floor. Squeeze the tushy, squeeze the block. Now when we lift up, this is an ability for some of us to correct any disc herniations in the lower lumbar spine. So squeezing the glutes, squeezing the block, those are two of the important parts. The adductors, the pelvic floor muscles, and then the glutes are an important part of that to help with the disc herniations. So let's squeeze and lift our body halfway up. For those of you that can, tuck the flesh of the shoulder area and the outside of the arms towards the center to narrow your upper body. Make sure your head is nice and long, and then squeeze the tushy, squeeze the block. Lift your pelvis up a little higher so your rib cage comes away from the floor, all the way up to where your upper back is. Don't let the weight go to the head or neck, so keep it in the upper back. You have to create that extension so the weight waterfalls to the upper back or neck. For some of you, bending the elbows, hands facing each other may be an appropriate way to be in this position. For others, you're able to clasp. If you're clasping, your rib cage is not resting on your upper arm bone. So if it is, don't clasp, bend your elbows and palms face each other. Squeeze the block, squeeze the glutes. Lift your heart up. So really get a lift in that middle spine where the rib cage is. Deep breaths to your belly. When you need to come down, come down. Let's take one more breath. And then try to articulate your spine one bone at a time. So feel the spine pressing towards the floor. Keeping the stickiness out of your back. Bring yourself back to center. Let's take the block to the side. Bring the blanket back behind your head. We're going to work with the strap now. Let's take the legs one at a time and go slow here to unbend and bend your leg. If you haven't done the other one yet, do that too. If you'd like to look at the tracking of your knee, just notice how your knee tracks. Look at your knee bone, your kneecap. Let's begin with the right leg. Bring the leg as close as you could get it to your body. I don't want you to throw the strap on your foot. I want you to be able to place the strap as close as you can. Even if you'd like, you could touch your toes here, trying to keep that range of motion in your body. And then take the strap and move the strap up and down your foot, flossing the foot. You'll feel some heat here, getting stuff that's in the foot to go back into the system. And then stop right in the arch part of the foot. So if you'd like to lengthen the left leg, you could see if that's appropriate for your body. That helps to stabilize the pelvis. So I'd like us to articulate the ankle joint here. So look at your kneecap. Make sure your kneecap stays stationary. It does not move and it points straight backwards. You're going to pull on one side of the strap at a time. And hopefully you experience some kind of stretching on at least this part of your leg, and then depending on how tight you are, that may translate down to the calf and to the rest of the leg. So it really is an individual experience. Bring your leg so that your foot, your sole of your foot, try to get the sole of the foot up towards the sky, pointing towards the sky. Even if you're pretty tight, you need to have a bend in your leg so that you have some kind of flexion in that leg. And then wrap your hands around the strap and draw the leg towards the wall behind you. Do what's appropriate for you. Straight leg will actually pull on the pelvis and can strengthen the pelvic bone, so it's good for a stronger pelvis and a very precarious place near the hip joint to fracture if you fall. So for osteoporosis, this is fantastic if you keep your leg straight. If you bend the leg, you're in the belly of the muscle, still great stuff is happening there as well. Kneecap is pointing towards the wall behind you. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's take the strap in the left hand. Slide your hand down the strap. Hold onto the strap with one hand. Bring the leg so that the leg is right above your body. And even if you need to have a bend in the knee, have it be right above your body. So don't have the leg here. And then you're going to internally rotate so point your big toe a little bit more towards your left armpit. And the kneecap may be pointing now over towards the left. And then you're going to slowly guide your leg towards the left. Go slow. Keep the right tushy cheek on the floor. If you have a posterior hip replacement, be careful here because this is a strong posterior hip capsule stretch, the whole muscle that goes down the side of the leg. It's a pretty strong sensation. Make sure your pelvis doesn't posteriorly tilt. And for some of you, if you wanted to go now that was in the iliotibial band and the tensor fascia lata. Now, if you want to go a little bit deeper into some rotational muscles of the leg, if you'd like to go a little farther over, if that's available to you, not for everyone, it's pretty intense. You could go over a little farther. Pressing into the strap. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back out to center. Let's go to the adductor muscle, the inner thighs. Strap goes into the right hand, and we're going to lengthen the right leg to the right. Let your elbow be on the floor. Don't just plop into this. For some of you, you may need to have a block. If your leg feels too heavy, you could take a block to help support the leg. If you do have that left leg extended, make sure that left pelvic area is stabilized. So really contract the left core to hold the left tushy onto the floor. Take one more breath. And then bend the knee or straighten the leg. Bring yourself back up to center. Let's bend the legs. Put the left foot into the strap. And then let's just check to make sure we could still bend. Touch your toenails. And then take the right leg. If you'd like to straighten the right leg, go slow. See if that's available. Straighten that right leg. And then the first thing we're doing is the ankle and the foot. So you're going to pull, the first thing we do is floss. So let's floss that foot. And then let's do the ankle. So you're going to pull on one strap, pull on the other. One strap, and then the other. Keep your kneecap pointing straight back and not moving at all. So try to really isolate the movement in the ankle joint. And then bring yourself to neutral. Take your hands, wrap your hands around the strap. We're going to stretch that hamstring. So you're going to draw that leg back towards the wall. Deep breaths here. Take one more breath. And then let's take the strap in the right hand. Bring that left leg right above your body. Slightly point the left kneecap up towards the right armpit. And then you're going to guide the leg over to the right. Posterior hip replacements, be careful. So at first being really isolated, tushy cheeks are on the floor, both of them, staying in that. This is really healthy for knee. I find a lot of people with knee issues have a lot of tension in this part of their body. It's a muscle that's up in the hip and the top of the pelvis, and then it turns into a big piece of connective tissue that goes down to that outer knee joint. So this could be tight for a lot of people. A lot of cobwebs, a lot of stickiness here. So if you'd like to explore going over more, I don't really like to do this one myself because I have a posterior hip replacement on this side. So I don't like to put too much force on this side. But if you did want to, you could take your leg over to the side a little deeper if you're going to do that. So go ahead and explore that if you have that ability in your body to do that. And then bring yourself back to center. We're going to do the adductor muscle, the side. So take your strap in your left hand. So this is that inner thigh muscle. Keep the leg up high and then let the leg go out to the side. Breathing here. So with this one, you want the inner thigh of the left leg to be as far away from the top thigh, the right thigh. That's the goal here, is to get them as far away from each other so you get a lot of deep stretching in that leg, and then also a lot of range of motion in the pelvis. Take one more breath. Either bend the leg or bring it up to the sky straight. Let's take the strap off. Bring your knees into your chest. And I'd like you to roll onto your side. So the quadricep muscle is a hard muscle to stretch in the practice of yoga. And especially if you have knee flexion issues, because it usually requires the knee to be bent to stretch it. I find that this is a way that some or many can actually have access to this. So you could be on your side here and then reach back and grab the front of your foot if you're able to get the front of your foot, or it may be a sock, or it may be pants, whatever it is. And then try to bring the knee down so it's close to the other knee. And the real, to deepen this stretch is to minimize the flexion in the hip joint. So push that hip forward. And then make sure the leg is coming straight off the body and it's not going forward. So see if you're able to get a stretch here in your quadricep. Take one more breath. And then go to the other side. Pardon my back. Really push that hip joint forward. Take one more breath. And then come out of that. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves onto our tummies. So come all the way onto your tummy and come here into Sphinx pose. So the elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. Don't have the elbows wider than your body. Elbows underneath the shoulders, palms are on the floor, forearms are on the floor. And then when you first come into this, just notice what you notice here. Notice if you feel tension on one side or on both. Let your belly be soft here. So let your belly relax, let it fall towards the floor. And then look forward exactly at eyeball height. And then push your arms into the floor. Feel like you're lifting yourself up a little here. And then try to lift your rib cage away from your pelvis. So create a little length as you draw those lower ribs away. Push your heart forward, open your throat. And this is a nice way to take a break throughout the day if you've been sitting and looking down a lot. So whether that's computer use or cooking or anything where the head is looking down. And then the back muscles have to work here to hold the head up.
So let's come down with laying. Bring yourself down with laying. Let's take the hands to the side. So the palms are to the side. Some of you may need the hands a little higher, and some are okay having the hands right around armpit height. The key is to have the elbows in towards the body. Then lift one leg up and roll it in the socket so the inner thigh rolls up towards the sky and the outer leg rolls down towards the ground. And then place that foot on the floor so that all 5 toenails touch, especially the pinky toe. Inhale, lift the other leg up, roll the leg in the socket, inner thigh up, pinky toenail touches the floor. Forehead touches the floor, nose touches the floor. Soften everything here. So let it relax, let your body relax. The elbows are in towards the side, palms are open. Press the palms into the floor strongly, and then with pressing them into the floor, draw them down towards your feet. So they're still in the floor. You push down and you're pushing down and back towards your feet. As you inhale, lift your upper body off the floor and then your lower ribs, and then exhale to lower. So depending on how much strength you have in your back here, this is back strength. Push the toes into the floor, let the kneecaps come away from the floor. Push the hands into the floor, slide the hands down towards the legs. Lift your forehead off, your nose off, your upper chest, all the way down towards the lower ribs. And exhale to lower. Go slow. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. One more. You're going to feel this in your back because this is your back. So we're going to come up and hold. Bring your awareness before we rise. Let the forehead rest. Push the pubis bone. So that very bottom part of your body, below the belly button, push that into the floor. That's going to add a little posterior tilt. Contract your core to do that. And then on the next inhale, you're going to lift yourself up and stay here. Elbows are in at the side of the body. Push your hands into the floor. Lift your hands away from the floor for a second to see if you lower. And if you do go down lower, stay to where you lowered. And then put your hands back down, pushing down and drawing back towards your feet. Chest pushes forward, throat pushes forward. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down. Fold your hands one on top of each other. Let the forehead go onto the back of the hand. Spread your legs as wide as you can comfortably, and then allow your feet to go side to side. This is another area where some of you can get a quad stretch where you reach back and you grab one leg, you bring it towards your tushy. And I know that not everybody can do that. So just a little note here. And if you put your arm up like this too, it really stretches that shoulder. The tushy, the heel comes towards the tushy. So that's just another way to get that stretch in the quads, which can actually start to soften up the stickiness in the knee joint for those of you that are working towards getting a little more knee flexion. Bring yourself onto the side, take your hand in front of you, and let's push ourselves up and away from the floor. Coming onto all fours. For those of you that can, come into a squat. And I know it's not everyone. If you can get the feet to be flat here, try that. Let your elbows be in on the inside. And I know not everybody can. If you're not on this, crawl around on all fours. And then we'll all join you. So let's come a little crawling forward and back, settling what needs to be settled in the body. we're gonna come into a total front body stretch, or sorry, total front body strengthener. Can you see if you could sit on your toes like this? Flip your toes under. Try to get all 5 toes to touch, even the pinky toes. And then come onto your feet like this. Then come up to your toes. So maybe not all of you have that range of motion anymore. Maybe it is something you're going to be able to work towards, and maybe not. I would say that when it comes to knee issues, don't force the issue. So, all right. And don't get discouraged if you can't do this. If we all went to a restaurant together to order food, we wouldn't all order the same thing, right? We would all order different things. So allow whatever the diversity is in your own body to be whatever it is. Working towards what you can and then accepting that which you cannot change, right? Isn't that like the serenity prayer? Accepting what you can change and letting go of what you can't. Acceptance is the key. I'd say that acceptance is for happy aging. Let's come on. I want to do a plank pose here. So you could come up into full plank, or you could come into a modified version of this. You could come down onto your forearms and do this in a modification or in a full dolphin. Okay, so we're going to do a minute, and you could do whatever you can do. I'm going to time you. A nice thing for you to do here is I'll time you. Count your breaths, because I think adding plank into our lives is a great way to keep our body nice and strong. Flip your toes under first. All of us do this. So we stretch our calves. That's one area of the leg that we may not have gotten too much with our straps. So flip your toes under, let your body weight go back and forth, and then do the same thing with the other. Make sure all 5 toes are touching. So it's not just the big toe. Let all of them touch. And then we're going to come into our plank. Bring your foot up, come into your plank. Be nice and tall here in your body. So push through the center of the heels, lengthen out the head, and then look down at your fingers. That's important. So press all of the fingers into the floor. The pinky, the ring, the middle, the pointer, and the thumb. And then bring your awareness to your toes. Make sure that all 5 toes on each foot are pushing into the floor. Your heels are pushing away from you. Nice and long and tall in your body. Feel that power in your body. For those of you that want to get fancy, if you want to take one leg off at a time, you can. Take one more breath. And then let's go ahead and bend our knees. Bring ourselves all the way up. Whew. That is one strong posture to have in your body. All right. Noticing the heart beating, hopefully through less arterial stiffness as we stretched our body today. So it's time to come into the Shavasana, to the final rest. And this is a posture of peace. So when you're in this, find whatever's comfortable. You could be on the floor. You could have your legs up the chair, legs up the wall, a bolster underneath your knees. And we're going to come back onto our backs and stay connected with your breath, stay connected to your body. Search your body, notice what's happening when you're in this position. So let's come down onto the floor.
Gently begin to bring your awareness to your breath and begin to deepen the breath. Feel as if your whole body was breathing. So feel the expansion and the contraction of that breath. Bring awareness to your fingers, your toes as you introduce movement to the fingers and the toes. Finding your way into knees to chest. rolling onto your right side. Opening up your hand, you're going to push yourself up to a seated position.
We're going to close the practice with the sound Om, blending the Ah, O, from the lower to the middle to the upper lobes of the lungs. Take your hands together. Thumbs touch the sternum bone, lengthen the back of the spine and especially the neck. Let's take a deep breath all the way down to the belly. We bow to each other in Namaste. Namaste. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you were able to feel where your stickiness is, where your tightness is, where your cobwebs are, and that you were able to clear them or to know where they are so that you can clear them. Because that's what's going to keep the health in the vascular system, the health in the respiratory system, the skeletal system, the muscular system, the nervous system. Really important to have this open aspect, this stretch, this non-sticky, no cobweb aspect to our body for the functionality to be optimized. So thank you. Namaste. All right. So let me see. Carolyn, good morning. I was thinking about you when we were doing that. Stevie, good morning, yoga friends. Yes. You're welcome, Michael. Carolyn, you're welcome. Mikhail, right? Mikhail, I think. I love all those emojis. If you're subscribed, please. If you're not subscribed already, thumbs up if you like this. Like and subscribe. Thanks, Sharon. Oh, wow. Yeah, have a lovely Zoom retreat. George, you're welcome. Great. Glad you needed that. Glad it was there for you. Oh, goodness. Wind chill. Wow. Yeah, we're a little, we have the sun out. Oh, no. It's really pretty nice here in Southern California, Martha. Maybe you should move to California with your sister. Although I love all that weather. Stews and soups and hot beverages. Nancy, great. Yes, please do. You're welcome. Great, Stevie. I love that you love that. Claudia, good morning. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Have a beautiful Saturday. And I look forward to seeing you whenever I see you. Thank you. Bye.